If the company removed your title tomorrow, would you still know who you are? Listen carefully. If retirement frightens you because nobody will call you director anymore, if redundancy feels like the deletion of your identity, if a failed business makes you believe that you have failed as a human being, then you may have confused your position with your person. Here is the hidden bargain many people make. They give an organization their identity, and the organization gives them income, status, and security. Everything feels fine until the agreement ends. Then the office disappears, the business card becomes useless, and suddenly they ask, "Who am I now?" But you were somebody before they hired you. Write this down. Employment is an agreement. Usefulness is a contribution. Employment means someone pays you to perform a defined function. Usefulness means your life adds value wherever you are placed. A company can terminate an agreement. It cannot terminate the value God placed within you. Here is the principle that will govern this entire message. Your job is a vehicle, but your purpose is the contribution the vehicle carries. I'm going to say it again. Your job is the vehicle. Your purpose is the contribution. A vehicle may break down. A vehicle may become too small. A vehicle may no longer suit the road ahead. But changing the vehicle does not require abandoning the destination. So do not resign tomorrow because you heard an exciting message. That is emotion, not wisdom. We are going to define the terms, uncover the contribution hidden in your life, examine whether your present career carries it, and build a responsible 90-day move toward alignment. Now take out something to write with and complete 2 sentences. First, my current job pays me to be specific. Second, even if no one gave me this title, I would still feel responsible to. Do not rush that answer. The first sentence describes your present arrangement. The second may expose your enduring assignment. Keep it. We will return to it. Here is the good news. Disliking a role does not mean you have lost your purpose. Losing a job does not mean you have lost yourself. You are not merely the position you occupy, you are the contribution you carry. But before you can redesign your career, we must separate 6 words people keep confusing. Job, career, gift, vocation, work, and purpose. Because when language is confused, decisions become confused. Now write these 6 words in this order. Purpose, work, gifts, vocation, career, and job. They belong together, but they do not mean the same thing. And when you use them as though they are interchangeable, you begin asking a temporary position to answer permanent questions. Purpose answers why. Purpose is the enduring reason for your contribution. It identifies the need you are responsible for addressing and the value your life is meant to add. Purpose is not a title printed beneath your name. It is the reason your gifts must be developed and your work must be done. Work answers what? Work is the actual contribution you make, the problem you solve, the order you create, the people you develop, the burden you help lift. Work may be expressed through paid employment, but it is larger than salary. You can stop receiving a paycheck and still have meaningful work to do. Gifts answer how. They are the recurring capacities through which your contribution moves. Perhaps you explain difficult ideas clearly. Perhaps you organize confusion, design solutions, encourage wounded people, build systems, discern patterns, lead teams, or repair what others abandon. But listen carefully. Your gift is an instrument, not the assignment. A hammer is powerful, but it still needs something worth building. Vocation identifies a sustained field of service. Career describes the journey of roles, experience, growth, and responsibility across time. A career may remain in one field, or it may cross several fields. And a job is the present arrangement, a defined task for a particular employer during a particular season in exchange for compensation. Let me give you the hierarchy again. Purpose answers why. Work answers what contribution. Gifts answer how. Vocation identifies the field. Career records the journey. Job names the present arrangement. Do you understand? The carpenter's bench can train discipline, accuracy, patience, and service. Yet the occupation does not necessarily contain the whole assignment. A practical trade may support the mission, prepare the person, or provide a platform for the contribution without becoming the total meaning of that life. That is why one purpose can survive 5 employers, 3 industries, and several seasons. The platform changes, the contribution continues. Say this aloud. A title can be removed, my contribution remains. Say the second one. A job can end, my responsibility does not. Here's the good news. You do not need one perfect title to live meaningfully. You need clarity about what every title is supposed to serve. But now a harder question appears. If these distinctions are so important, how did so many intelligent people build entire careers before deciding what those careers were meant to serve? Here is the problem. Most people were taught how to qualify for employment before they were taught how to examine their contribution. 4 voices commonly govern career decisions. Write them down. Money, prestige, family expectation, and market demand. Now, none of these is automatically evil. Money matters because responsibilities are real. Reputation can create influence. Families may offer wisdom. Market demand tells you where people will pay for value. But useful information becomes a dictator when it is allowed to define who you are. The sequence is painfully familiar. You choose what appears safe. You train for what appears profitable. You become competent, so the system rewards you. Then the salary grows, the obligations multiply, and the lifestyle expands. Eventually, you are afraid to question the path because you have invested too much in maintaining it. Listen carefully. Success can make misalignment harder to escape. I'm going to say it again. Success can make misalignment harder to escape. A promotion proves that an organization values your performance. It does not automatically prove that the work expresses your purpose. A large salary can confirm market value without confirming personal assignment. Applause tells you that people approve. It does not tell you why you are here. That is the difference between a good opportunity and the right responsibility. A position may be honorable, profitable, and admired, and still divert you from the contribution you are responsible for making. The enemy of your best contribution may not be bad work. It may be good work that consumes all the time, strength, and attention your real responsibility requires. Now, return carefully to your early years. Do not assume every childhood fantasy was prophecy. A child may want to become a pilot because airplanes look exciting. Look beneath the title. What pattern was present? Were you always teaching, protecting, inventing, organizing, healing, advocating, or building? The title may have changed, but the impulse may have remained. And do not diagnose every difficult Monday as a purpose crisis. Sometimes you are simply tired. Sometimes the workplace is unhealthy. Sometimes your discipline needs development, but sometimes the frustration runs deeper. Your gifts remain unused, your convictions are repeatedly violated, and your contribution has nowhere to breathe. Comparison will not solve that problem. Another person's career can show you what is possible, but it cannot tell you what is yours. Their promotion is not your instruction. Their platform is not your assignment. So write down 2 honest answers. First, the career decision I made mainly to avoid disappointing someone was. Second, the symbol of success I have been using as proof of my worth is. Do not condemn yourself. You made decisions with the understanding, pressures, and responsibilities you had, but now you can examine them. Diagnosis, however, is not direction. So next we will turn your dissatisfaction into evidence by following the tracks purpose has already left throughout your life. Purpose is not manufactured, it is discovered. You are not creating an impressive identity to display before people. You are examining evidence already present in your burdens, your service, your abilities, and your convictions. Purpose leaves tracks. Your responsibility is to notice them. Take a page and draw 4 columns. Label them: problem, people, ability, and principle. Write at least 3 answers beneath each one. First, problem. What disorder do you notice quickly? What situation keeps returning to your mind? What makes you say, someone must improve this? Be careful here. Irritation alone is not assignment. You can be annoyed by traffic without being called to redesign transportation. The better question is this: does the problem awaken responsibility in you? Does it move you beyond complaint towards service, study, or action? A burden that repeatedly makes you useful deserves attention. Second, people. Whose struggle do you understand with compassion rather than contempt? Perhaps you recognize the frustration of confused students, overlooked employees, discouraged parents, inexperienced leaders, struggling business owners, or neglected communities. You will notice many needs, but some people draw from you a special patience. You do not merely criticize their condition, you want to help them move forward. Third, ability. What do people repeatedly ask you to help them do? What solution do you tend to see before everyone else sees it? Maybe you clarify complicated ideas. Maybe you bring order to confusion. Maybe you listen deeply, build trust, repair systems, create beauty, organize resources, or lead people through uncertainty. But listen carefully. Natural ability is only raw material. A gift neglected becomes unreliable. A gift trained becomes service. If people will depend on your contribution, you owe them competence. Fourth principle. What standard will you not violate, even when compromise offers money, recognition, or speed? Career alignment without character alignment is counterfeit alignment. If reaching the destination requires you to become someone you cannot respect, you are traveling in the wrong manner. Now study all 4 columns. Circle repeated words. Connect the problem to the people. Connect the people to the ability. Connect the ability to the principle. Then apply 4 tests. Does this clue appear across several seasons? Does it create value for someone besides you? Does it invite responsibility rather than fantasy? Does it remain when your mood changes? The strongest patterns survive all 4. And do not let painful history define your limits. Failure may teach you. Loss may deepen your compassion. What happened to you can become useful material without being called necessary or good. Your past may inform your service, but it does not own your future and it does not cancel your responsibility. Now complete this sentence. I am responsible for using my ability to help these people move from this problem toward this outcome without violating this principle. That statement is provisional. It is not a slogan carved in stone. It is an evidence-based hypothesis ready to be tested. And that test matters, because a purpose statement becomes credible only when it can survive contact with real occupations. So now let us see how one enduring contribution can travel through many different careers. Here is the principle. Purpose remains stable, but its platforms can multiply. So stop asking only, which title am I supposed to have? That question is too small. Ask instead, what change keeps following me from one role to another? The title identifies the uniform. The change identifies the contribution. Let me explain. Suppose your recurring contribution is developing human potential. In other words, you help people recognize capacity, build competence, and accept responsibility for their growth. That purpose does not lock you inside one occupation. As a teacher, you may diagnose why a learner is confused, translate difficult knowledge into understandable language, and guide that person toward mastery. The classroom is the platform. Development is the contribution. As a manager, you may recognize ability that an employee has not yet learned to use. You assign meaningful responsibility, coach performance, correct weaknesses, and create conditions in which people mature. The office is the platform. Development is still the contribution. As a mentor, you may help someone interpret an obstacle, recover a sense of agency, and make wiser decisions. In professional counseling, that same concern requires appropriate education, ethical practice, and proper credentials. Compassion does not remove the obligation to become competent. But again, the setting changes while the contribution remains visible. As an entrepreneur, you may design a product, service, or system that gives thousands of people access to tools for growth. Now the contribution is moving through technology, training, or enterprise. As a community leader, you may gather people around a shared need, develop local leadership, organize resources, and build structures that continue after you leave. That last part matters. If everything collapses when one personality disappears, people were impressed, but they were not developed. Do you see it? Teaching, management, mentoring, counseling, entrepreneurship, and community leadership differ in training, authority, economics, and daily activity. Yet one thread can pass through all of them. People become more capable and responsible because you were there. And this principle applies beyond human development. If your contribution is restoring order, it may travel through operations, logistics, administration, or project leadership. If your contribution is protecting dignity, it may appear through advocacy, ethical management, caregiving, or public service. I'm going to say it again. Your purpose is not imprisoned inside one profession. Think of your purpose as cargo and your job as a vehicle. A bicycle may carry it across one season. A truck may carry it through another. When the terrain changes, wisdom may require a different vehicle. But if you change vehicles every month simply because the road becomes uncomfortable, the cargo never reaches anybody. That is why purpose gives you both freedom and discipline. Freedom because you are not trapped by one title. Discipline because every available title is not automatically yours. Now return to the provisional statement you wrote. Underneath it, list 3 different roles that could carry that contribution. Make one ambitious, one realistic within the next few years, and one available inside your present organization right now. You are not searching for one mystical title. You are identifying credible platforms. But possibility must now become discernment. If several roles can carry the same purpose, how do you determine which platform fits this season? For that, you need more than excitement. You need a career alignment test. Write down 5 words: contribution, strengths, values, growth, and season. These are the 5 tests in your career alignment matrix. Now listen carefully. You are not looking for a perfect score. No role will satisfy every preference, use every gift, and remove every difficulty. You are looking for an honest picture of alignment and trade-offs. Test number 1, contribution. Does this role allow you to address the problem and serve the people you identified? The connection may be direct, as when a teacher develops students, or indirect, as when an administrator builds the system that supports their education. Supporting work is still meaningful when it genuinely advances the contribution. Test number 2, strengths. Does the role use abilities you already possess while giving you a reason to improve them? Do not confuse being untrained with being miscast. If the contribution is right but your skill is weak, you may not need a different purpose. You may need development. But if years of honest effort reveal that the role consistently demands capacities contrary to your design while burying your strongest gifts, pay attention. Test number 3, values. Can you succeed in this work without repeatedly violating your convictions? A career is not aligned merely because you enjoy the tasks. If advancement requires deception, exploitation, or the surrender of your non-negotiable principles, the platform is asking for too much. Success that destroys character is failure wearing expensive clothing. Test number 4. Or are you merely repeating activity? Movement is not growth. Busyness is not fruitfulness. 10 years of experience can become 1 year of learning repeated 10 times if you refuse new responsibility. Test number 5. Season. Does this role fit your present financial duties, health, family responsibilities, experience, and readiness? A platform may suit your future and still be irresponsible today. That does not mean abandon the vision. It means prepare for it. Timing does not cancel purpose. Timing determines stewardship. Now rate each category from 1 to 5, and beside every score write evidence. Not feelings, evidence. What have you produced? What feedback have you received? Which values are protected or pressured? What capacity is growing? What responsibility does this season require? Do not manipulate the numbers to baptize a decision you already made emotionally. If you want to leave, you will be tempted to make every present score a 1. If you are afraid to move, you will make every score a 5. Honesty is the beginning of direction. Then interpret the pattern. High contribution with low skill means train. High skill with low values means confront an integrity conflict. High alignment with poor seasonal fit means prepare before moving. Low scores across all 5 mean you need an active transition plan, not another year of vague frustration. And seek wise confirmation. Speak with people who know your character and have observed your competence, not merely people impressed by the size of your dream. Counsel can test your judgment, but it must not replace your responsibility. Finally, score 3 options: your present role, a redesigned version of that role, and one realistic alternative. Compare reality with reality, not reality with fantasy. Now you have a framework that honors contribution, competence, integrity, development, and responsibility together. But if the matrix exposes misalignment, do not assume the first instruction is resignation. The first question is simpler. Can the platform you already have be converted into a better vehicle? There are two mistakes you must avoid. The first is making your current job your permanent identity. The second is declaring it worthless because it is not your final vision. Write this down. Temporary does not mean meaningless. Your workplace contains real people, real problems, real systems, real resources, and real relationships. Before you demand another platform, ask what contribution you can make on the platform already beneath your feet. You may not control your title, but you can often increase your usefulness. Here are 5 ways to begin. First, volunteer for a problem connected to your purpose inventory. If you care about developing people, help improve onboarding. If you restore order, examine a broken process. Do not merely announce what is wrong. Bring responsible help. Second, reshape recurring tasks where you have legitimate freedom. A routine report can become a tool for clearer decisions. A meeting can become a place where overlooked voices are heard. Small changes can reveal whether your contribution produces value. Third, propose one useful project. Define the problem, the result, the resources required, and the benefit to the organization. Purpose is not proven by enthusiasm alone. It must become service. Fourth, help appropriate colleagues grow. Share knowledge. Offer encouragement. Mentor within healthy professional boundaries. If your contribution develops people, you do not need a stage to begin. Fifth, request responsibilities that exercise underused strengths. Do not complain that nobody recognizes your ability while concealing it. Make a credible request and support it with evidence. Now understand this. Ordinary assignments can prepare you for extraordinary responsibility. A task nobody applauds may teach discipline. A limited budget may teach resourcefulness. A difficult conversation may develop communication. A demanding season may build endurance and judgment. Preparation often arrives dressed as inconvenience. But this principle must never be used to glorify harm. Exploitation is not training. Ethical compromise is not loyalty. Serious damage to your health is not a badge of faithfulness. Some environments require boundaries, formal intervention, or departure. Wisdom knows the difference between the discomfort that develops you and the damage that diminishes you. And if you made a bad decision, missed an opportunity, or watched a plan collapse, listen carefully. Failure can instruct you without owning you. It may expose weakness, deepen humility, and improve judgment. It does not permanently disqualify your contribution. There is one more principle. Develop a successor. Do not make yourself indispensable merely to protect a title. Document what you know. Train another person. Build systems that survive your absence. Mature leadership does not trap an organization into needing you forever. It leaves people stronger. Now accept a 7-day assignment. Find one neglected problem in your present workplace. Use one gift from your inventory to address it. Then record 3 things. Who benefited, which skill you exercised, and what resistance appeared. This experiment will show whether your current job can become a better vehicle. You may discover unused room where you are. But if the platform still cannot carry enough of your contribution, do not leap from the shore in frustration. Build a bridge through service, evidence, skill, relationships, and financial order. Here is the law of responsible transition. Conviction identifies direction, but stewardship determines movement. In other words, knowing where you should go does not excuse you from deciding wisely how and when to go. Purpose gives you direction. Responsibility builds the road. Write down this transition ladder. First, redesign your present role. Second, volunteer where the problem is already being addressed. Third, test your contribution through a small side project. Fourth, gain targeted training. Fifth, pursue a more aligned role or industry. Sixth, if sustained evidence supports it, consider building an organization. Notice that the ladder begins with service, not status. Before you purchase an expensive qualification, resign publicly, or redesign your entire life, help somebody, Test the contribution on a small scale. Real beneficiaries will tell you whether your idea creates value beyond your own excitement. You may be called to solve a problem without being called to become a founder. You may contribute without becoming famous. You may serve powerfully without becoming a full-time specialist tomorrow. Do not confuse the assignment with the most glamorous platform you can imagine. And good intentions do not replace competence. If people will trust you with their development, money, health, organization, or future, then your purpose creates an obligation to become skillful. Study, practice, receive correction, produce evidence. A sincere person who refuses training can still harm the people they intend to help. Now examine your finances. Calculate your essential obligations. Reduce avoidable pressure. Decide how much savings would create a responsible runway. Define what income, demand, or confirmed opportunity must exist before you make a major move. Faith does not require financial confusion. Then examine your relationships. Who shares the consequences of this transition? A spouse, children, a business partner, a collaborator. Do not privately make a decision that publicly rearranges everybody else's life. Vision without honest conversation becomes selfishness. Finally, establish an exit standard, not an exit mood. Your standard may be completing necessary training, receiving repeated demand for your service, saving a defined runway, or securing an aligned position. Write the standard down before the next frustrating Monday tries to make the decision for you. Listen carefully. Courage is not carelessness. I'm going to say it again. Courage is not carelessness. A bridge does not reveal lack of confidence in the destination. It protects the people, resources, and responsibilities entrusted to you while you move toward it. You have permission to pursue greater alignment, but you do not need drama to prove conviction. Now the bridge needs dates, measurements, and action. So let us convert everything you have discovered into a focused 90-day career realignment plan. Take the next 90 days and divide them into 3 phases. Days 1 through 30, clarify. Days 31 through 60, test. Days 61 through 90, position. You do not need instant certainty. You need disciplined evidence. Now make 4 commitments. Commitment number 1, invest in one skill. Return to your career alignment matrix and identify the capability gap that most limits your contribution. Then choose one method of development, a course, a mentor, supervised practice, or a demanding project. But do not merely say, I am learning. Define visible proof. By day 30, what will you be able to produce, explain, organize, build, or improve that you cannot do effectively today? Commitment number 2, conduct one service experiment. Choose a specific group of people, one genuine problem, and one small repeatable action. Do not begin by trying to impress the whole world. Help 5 people well. Improve one process. Run one workshop. Test one service. Establish who will benefit, when you will serve them, and how they will respond. And listen carefully. Measure usefulness, not applause. Likes may reveal attention. They do not necessarily reveal transformation. Ask whether somebody became clearer, stronger, more capable, or better served because you acted. Commitment number 3, build one strategic relationship. Identify a practitioner, wise counselor, potential collaborator, or decision maker connected to the contribution you are testing. Approach that person with a specific request. Do not say, can I pick your brain? Show preparation. Bring a question. Bring your evidence. Bring something useful. Relationships built only around what you can get rarely become partnerships. Commitment number 4, take one financially responsible step. Start a transition fund. Remove an expense that keeps you trapped. Price a pilot service. Apply for an aligned role. Or establish the evidence that must exist before you leave your present position. Purpose without financial order creates pressure that can corrupt good decisions. Now add a short morning practice. Before the phone, the messages, and the demands of the day, review your contribution statement. Surrender your agenda to God. Identify the single most purposeful action for that day. Then say, my title does not define me. Today I will use this platform to create value. At the end of every week, ask 4 questions. What value did I create? What did I learn? What evidence changed my assumptions? What is the next responsible act? Then schedule a decision meeting for day 90. At that meeting, choose one response. Deepen the experiment, redesign it, pursue a validated opportunity, continue preparing, or release a hypothesis that produced no meaningful evidence. Rejecting a weak hypothesis is not failure. It is wisdom gained through action. Now write down your first step and put it on your calendar before this message ends. An intention without a time becomes a wish. The framework is complete, but information must now become identity. So let us gather every definition, decision, and commitment into one declaration you can carry back into work tomorrow. Now return to the question we began with. If the title vanished tomorrow, what would remain? Your gifts would remain. Your experience would remain. Your convictions would remain. Your responsibility would remain. Your capacity to create value would remain. The vehicle might be taken away, but the contribution would still be yours to carry. Remember the order. Purpose defines why you contribute. Gifts enable the work. Careers organize your experience. Jobs provide temporary platforms. Your plans must serve the purpose. They must never become a substitute for it. And to the person who feels late, ashamed, or trapped, hear this clearly. Your history does not have greater authority than your present responsibility. A failure can become instruction. A detour can produce wisdom. A wrong decision may explain where you are, but it does not possess the right to decide where you finish. Stand in the truth of who you are. Say these words aloud. I am more than my title. I will not despise my present platform. I will develop my gifts. I will serve people. I will build my next step responsibly. I will carry my contribution wherever I go. Now name the problem you will help solve. Say it aloud. Name the people you will serve. Do not let your purpose statement become decoration. Turn it into responsibility. Let us pray. Father, give us clarity to recognize our contribution, discipline to develop our gifts, courage to move when movement is required, and integrity to refuse success that violates our convictions. Provide what is needed for every responsible step. Teach us to honor today's duties without confusing them with our final destination. Give us wisdom to know when to remain, when to redesign, when to prepare, and when to transition. May our work create value, develop people, and produce fruit that continues beyond our titles. Amen. Now complete the 4-column inventory. Score your present role, a redesigned version of it, and one realistic alternative. Choose your 4 90-day commitments. Then perform your first service action within 7 days. Do not wait for a new title before becoming useful. Tomorrow, do not merely report to a job. Carry your contribution into that platform. Solve something. Serve someone. Develop your gifts. Honor your responsibilities. And begin building a career that serves the reason you are here.